Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody. It's week 17 in the National Football League, and we got playoff football looking to not playoff football, but look like it'll be playoff football today in Eagles versus Bills. 11-4 Bills versus your 10-5 Philadelphia Eagles in Buffalo today, boys, at Highmark Stadium, or Orchard Park, New York, I should say. We're here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. I'm joined by John McMullen, host of Birds 365, and Dan Sileo, host of the National Football Show. How you boys doing here on a Sunday after Christmas in prep for Eagles versus Bills?
It's going to be wet and rainy in Buffalo, and this will be one of the final games at Old Ralph Wilson Stadium. And if you know anything about Ralph Wilson Stadium, having your asses up there, you never know what you're going to get when it comes to weather. I heard John and you talking early in the week, and John was right. He goes, "Don't tell me about Buffalo weather on a Tuesday. Man. Let me know what Buffalo weather is the morning I wake up and I have to put my fat ass out there in Orchard Park because that thing, dude, you can hear this, Zander, all the time. Hey, look, because you never know what's coming off that lake. And it just changes like that overnight. It should be, I don't think windy, John. I don't hear any kind of wind issues up there, but it's going to be rainy and it's going to be pretty cold up there too, right a little bit above freezing there. So that'll make for an interesting ball game. Ground game, I'm thinking today.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, Buffalo and the weather is always a big deal, but I think this is the best you can hope for this time of year, to be honest. I mean, it got up to the 40s and the 40s today. You know, it'll be in the 30s. Some rain, probably some freezing rain, but the wind's not that bad. You know, Nick Sirianni doesn't admit much, but he admitted, I was surprised, he admitted, you know, the biggest problem for offenses is wind. It's not rain or snow. They think they have the advantage. He usually doesn't like to give any information. Not that that should be, you know, new to most people. Other people around the league admit it pretty frequently, and you've seen it already this year with the Eagles, a bunch of win games. Ironically, though, you know, the day forecast in Buffalo, to your point about how quickly it changes, it's about, you know, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds, so essentially nothing. And then it's popping up to 25 to 30. When does that come through? Does that come through in the third quarter or the fourth quarter? We don't know.
How about this too, John? You know, special teams in a place like that has always been a problem, you know, depending on what special teams is playing their best. I mean, Zander, don't be shocked if in a game like this, I mean, especially with Jake Elliott and how, again, that he struggled this last month of the season here. That could also be in a game like this where points, I think, are going to be – this is going to be a very close football game. That could be the difference. Maybe a shank punt. You know, you don't get really good. This will be a field position football game in this weather.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, the Bills kicker is out in this game, Matt Prater. He's out. So they have Badgley stepping in. I think his name is
Michael Badgley.
Michael Badgley. Thank you. Yeah, he'll be up to kick for the Bills. So you're right, though. Special teams will be a big factor. John, let me start with you. How do you feel about this game in general? I mean, the Eagles lost 3 straight games, and they bounced back with 2 wins. Versus some pretty lowly opponents, the Raiders and the Commanders. And now they have a formidable test here, one of the best teams in the AFC, probably the best quarterback in football in Josh Allen. A great test here on the road in Buffalo late December. That's why I said in my open, it's playoff-like football. It's a playoff atmosphere while not being playoff football. What's your general thought on this game for the Birds?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to play, so that's a positive number one. Even though the New York Jets are not helping out Buffalo any, they're getting waxed by the Patriots. But you know, the Patriots only clinch the AFC East if the Bills lose, so they still have something to play for. So I think they're going to try to win the game, and the Eagles have been up front as long as that. Second seed is there. They're a full go. Vic Fangio kind of admitted that, full steam ahead. So, you know, sometimes it's really difficult in these late game situations because of the way football has changed. Our team's going to play. Are they not going to play? But in this instance, it looks like Buffalo and the Eagles are going to try to win this game, and that should be a good test on both sides. of the bracket, because this is a legit AFC contender against a legit NFC contender. So maybe we actually learned something as opposed to the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, no doubt. Sills, how do you see this thing coming in, man? I know you've always loved Josh Allen. I see why. Great football player. They got a solid team in Buffalo sitting at 11-4. What do you make of this game coming in today, brother?
Well, again, they got the best running attack in pro football. And one of the things that the Eagles, we've been saying all year long, have struggled at is those mobile quarterbacks. But the difference here, this guy has the same kind of like ability as a Jackson Dart does when it gets out in the perimeter and being able to make those plays. The difference is this guy has an arm. This guy knows how to go to targets here. And what I've always loved about the offense that he runs up in Buffalo, it's kind of like what they do in Kansas City. There's really no primary targets. You made a comment, Zander, prior to the show, is that, you get Kincaid out. That's a tight end driven offense. It's really not a perimeter offense where you have the Y's and Z's. This is more like they want to get underneath and they want to be able to create space. And he moves around in that pocket so well. But again, this is going to come down to a run game. This is going to come down to when you look at how the Buffalo Bills want to move the sticks. What's the number one thing Buffalo wants to do in this game? They want to win first and second down. Okay? I know, and I hear John always saying that, Vic's going to give that up. The one thing that Vic doesn't want to give up? Third and short. And when you're in third and short, that opens up your playbook more. But when you don't have a guy like a Kincaid, I would think to keep an eye out for the backs, him throwing more to the backs, trying to get a little bit underneath, because, again, this is not a deep threat passing offense.
No, it's not.
It's more of an offense where they want to keep everything underneath and they want to win first and second down. So
they're actually more of a ground.
Yeah,
they're a ground and pound team. So, I mean, for as talented as Josh Allen is, you would think that they're this high flying. They're not really a high flying passing attack. I will say this, and John, I'm going to come to you here on the inactives, but Sileo just mentioned Dalton Kincaid, the starting tight end for the Bills, is out. But I will say this. The Bills are weirdly one of very few teams that can manage the loss of a tight end. They have Dawson Knox right behind him, who will play today. And they also have the rookie, Jackson Hawes, who they drafted, who's played over 400 snaps this year as well, who's had a good year as well. So they do have some guys there. John, coming to you on the injury report, though, Eagles, Bills, what do you know? I know Nakobe Dean and Lane Johnson are going to be out in this football game.
Yeah, and that's a clear indication that Lane, at least, is probably, you're not going to see him till the playoffs. So that's pretty evident at this point. Nakobe, we talked about a lot, hurt his hamstring early. I think he played 13 snaps in Washington. So Jihad Campbell steps in there, and Jihad started the first 7-8 games of the season, played very effectively. So that's a pretty good backup, to say the least, considering how he played when he was first in there. Now, the problem is Nakobe's strength is the run game. And as you guys talked about, this is the best rushing attack in the NFL. James Cook leading the league in rushing. Josh Allen, the best +1 in the game, without Lamar Jackson having one of his type years. So very difficult to stop on the ground. Late scratch Michael Carter, significant depth in the slot and as a force safety. He was ruled out late to, right before the game, basically, personal reasons, not injury related. So we'll have to dig to see if we can figure out what's going on there. I talked to him on Friday, seemed fine. So, but things can pop up in somebody's life. So, and then the other ones are the normal guys, Josh Uche, Sam Howell, the emergency quarterback, A.J. Dillon. So those are typicals. Mac McWilliams is active for the first time, I think, in 8 games, because Michael Carter is down. So that's really the only shift and what the Eagles are dealing with. And again, this late in the season, it's not bad. I mean, obviously you want Lane Johnson on the field, but this is, they've been used to dealing with this over the past number of weeks. Fred Johnson will continue to start there. And obviously Jihad, as I mentioned, for Nakobe Dean. So it's pretty healthy. Can't lean on injuries.
But go for Carter.
Yeah, Jalen Carter's active, ready to go. And I think, to your guys' point you were talking about, look, Vic likes to give up stuff in the running game, or is willing to give up stuff in the running game when he's trying to limit explosive plays. I think you're going to see a lot of 5-man fronts to try to stop the run game because he's not worried about explosive plays this week in the passing game. That's just my thought coming into the game. And now that you have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Moro Ojomo and Byron Young and Brandon Graham, now you have more bodies to potentially use those interior defensive linemen a little bit more to try to slow down this running game.
I would also say this too. Keep an eye on Greg Russo versus Fred Johnson too in this ball game, because he's had a hell of a football season. He's up to near 7 sacks. I think he is one of their big playmaking type guys, and I would keep an eye on that matchup too. But I agree with John. I think you're going to see a lot of multiple fronts in this game. But remember something too. The one thing that has really hampered the Eagles front seven has been this: when you don't have Nakobe Dean out there, who is an open space demon and a missile when it comes to tackling. Not to take anything away from Campbell, he's not been a liability out there whatsoever. He's just a better open field tackler right now, this part of his career. I would say keep an eye on that, and that because the defense looks completely different when you have a younger kid in there. That's all it is right now. Campbell's going to have way more upside in about 18 more ball games. But right now, he's just not in the room when you got a sideline to sideline guy. And what's been the one thing to really give the Eagles problems a little bit this year? Denver did it. Cowboys did it a little bit. Surely the Bears. And I've been saying all week long, we're going to find out if that Bear game was really just a one-of game, because you got the best running attack in pro football right now. If they run the football down their throat, I'd keep an eye on that here then going into the playoffs too, because again, I mean, I get it. Vic doesn't want explosion plus 25, but you can't get your ass kicked at the point of attack.
I agree with that, no doubt. Sills, what do you think the return of Carter means today? I mean, remember when they had that Bears game, Carter was still in that thing, so the time will tell if what he did on his shoulders will help. We will see today. What do you think the return of him to the lineup means?
John knows the guys too very well in there, but, Clint Hurts got to keep an eye on his conditioning. And also he's got to keep an eye on whether or not he's hitting right now. Okay. He's been out a little bit here. So let's see. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to have him on a pitch count, but people were saying, and John, maybe you can confirm this, that even when he was practicing, and now they're not going really heavy when you're talking this late in the season, but he's still complaining about those shoulders. And let me say this, when you get those plasma shots, the only thing that helps those shoulders is 6 months rest. I mean, couple weeks, dude, it's kind of a Band-Aid on something right now. I know people who have had these shots. I don't know the rest that they gave him if it's going to really be that much of a difference. You're getting into the playoffs. You want to get him ramped up, and you want to get his reps going as you get closer into the season. This is the dress rehearsal for the postseason. Next week's not. This week is. This is going to get you ready for your opening day opponent, which most likely you're going to be a wild card.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it's shaking out. The playoff picture is all coming into shape, everybody. The Lions have officially been eliminated. The Packers are going to be that 7 seed. They're locked in. So just one playoff spot remaining, and the Buccaneers are limping their way.
How about this, John? How about this one, John? One thing has become clear after watching the Bears win the NFC North. And then watching a month ago, watching Dan Campbell take over the play calling, hey, homie, we have a problem in Motown. Okay, you ain't it. Okay, Ben Johnson was the key determining factor on that football team. Remember, Zander, we said at the beginning of the year, we thought they'd take a step back. I didn't think they'd not make the playoffs. Holy cow, that's a massive disappointment for Detroit. That guy's got to pull off the aggressive switch a little bit if he wants to really be the head coach of that football team. Too aggressive, and key situations cost that football team down the stretch a playoff seed.
Yeah, let's see what happens with that. Guys, what do you, John, starting with you here, offensively, what do you think the game plan is today? You got weather as a factor in nasty Buffalo. Will that wind come into play? We will see. Right now, not whipping too hard there, the wind. What do you think the Eagles' offensive plan is today? They've been trying to get the run game going all year. had a little bit of a breakthrough last week with a $132 on the ground for Saquon Barkley, including a couple explosive runs. Is that the plan today, Johnny Mack, versus this crappy Buffalo Bills running defense?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You know, we talk about Josh Allen in the running game. Well, the Bills have allowed opposing quarterbacks 356 rushing yards this season, which is third worst in the league. So they give up yardage to the quarterback as well. So this shapes up very well. And Saquon starting to come on late in the season. So I think this shapes up very well for the Eagles in the running game as well as the Bills in the running game. So on paper, strength versus strength, but I think the Eagles defense is better equipped to give up more of a fight than the Buffalo defense, which I do not like. The numbers don't look terrible. The numbers overall, they're ranked 11th. They're ranked second in pass defense, but that's because it's so easy to run it against them, and it has been so easy. And then if you look at the advanced stuff, the EPA stuff, the DVOA stuff, they're much worse than 11th. They're 22nd in points allowed. They're 24th in defensive DVOA. So that tells you what they really are, and that's a bottom 10 defense in the NFL. What they can do is make big plays, and they have made big plays recently, and that sort of masks some of the issues. But right now, I look at that defense in Buffalo and I say that's just not good enough. So I think the Eagles are going to try to run the ball, and I think they should be effective running the ball against this defense.
Sills, how do you see it offensively for the Birds?
The only thing that I would say about, again, what John just said is this. Yes, they're 27th against the 3 and outs. That's my big number. My big number is, do you get off the field or do you not get off the field on third down? And the Bills do not. They're 27th. If you can't get off the football field, teams are going to drive the football down your throat. Now, here's where it becomes a push. You know, the Eagles are 25th in third down offense. So, I mean, they can't stay on the field. And when the last 2 games, the last 8 quarters, again, the only thing that I take is what John said. I take a little confidence that they're getting their idea of what they want to accomplish. But against those 2 football teams that basically are in Cancun right now, mentally, and they've already packed up the U-Hauls, I want to see what they do in this football game, because as much as we've said, how many times have I asked both of you guys this question in a postgame show? Do you think there's anything wrong with Barkley? Do you think there's anything wrong with Barkley? Do you think there's anything wrong with Barkley? Well, we're now heading into the final 2 weeks of the season here, man. And to tell me that they started doing well against what? The Commanders and the and let's not forget, the Commanders had the lead before Mariota went down. So, again, I want to see what they do in this football game. Can they get sustained drives? John, that's the one thing they haven't done compared to 24. They have not had those long sustained drives, 12, 13 play drives consistently like they did a year ago where they were running teams off the scoreboard.
No, they certainly, and that's been the issues early, which I think a lot of them can be attributed to Saquon, to be honest. And, it's more than Saquon. It's certainly the offensive line not playing as well either. But I think he has verbalized in recent weeks he's got to be better with the dirty runs. And what he means by that is if it's blocked for 3 yards, get the damn 3 yards. Don't try to kick it outside. Don't try to hit home runs. Try to stay ahead of the sticks. And the reason I bring that up so much is because he's verbalized it and he's doing it. So I think that's important. The first step to solving a problem is admitting there is a problem. So I think he's realized, and then you see the 48-yard run, the 60-yard run a couple of weeks ago where you say, all right, well, he can still run by people. So it can't be something physical. He just wasn't having a good season. And I think he is locked in for the past couple of weeks. Again, confidence against bad opponents, maybe so. But I think this is a bad opponent from a run support standpoint defensively. Not a bad football team, but a bad run defense team, the Buffalo Bills. So I think this is an opportunity for Saquon and that offense to gain more confidence and get more mojo back in that running game. And I think that'll be the goal going into this game.
I do think it's worth noting while Saquon Barkley has not had an amazing year and at times has looked, pedestrian at best, he sits at 9th in the NFL in rushing yards. If that's going to be the down year for Saquon Barkley after a 2K yard,
it's a Giants year. Is basically what it is. This is what he was with the Giants
in the league. I mean, that's what I mean. It's not the worst in the world with 7 touchdowns. It could be better for sure, but not that bad for Saquon.
Yeah, well, I know what a down year looks like too. I saw a guy last night who's going to be for the, I think, 5th time in his NFL career go over 1,500 yards, and that's Derrick Henry. Here's a down year for Derrick Henry: 1,469 and 16 touchdowns. That's a down year for that guy because of the fumbles.
Well, they're different players, man.
Different player, you bet. That guy's running to Canton.
No, I agree. Now Saquon, some say he will. I'm not sure if he will or not. We'll find that out in years to come. Guys, Josh Allen today. All right, we can talk about the Bills defense. We can talk about a lot of different things. Let's be real here. When you play the Buffalo Bills, it's about Josh Allen. When that team wins, Josh Allen plays great. If Josh Allen doesn't play great, that team doesn't stand a chance no matter who they're playing up against. John, it's a tall task for Vic Fangio and the defense today, not only to take away James Cook in the running game, but to take away Josh Allen. What do you make of Josh Allen going up against him today? And what do you think Vic tries to do to kind of slow him down?
Well, disciplined pass rush, it's all the boring stuff. Got to keep him in a cage. Got to make sure you don't lose contain. You got to make sure you got eyes on him. That might be the one positive of having Jahad Campbell back in the game, is you have an athlete out there with Zach Bond, another athlete, so you can spy him. Jahad's probably one of the few linebackers in this league that might be able to run with him, and I say might because that's how good Josh Allen is. But if you need a spy, the Eagles are better equipped with Jahad Campbell than Nakobe Dean. And ultimately, maybe they should use Zach Bond anyway. But if you use Zach Bond in that means you limit him in doing other things, which is so good for the defense. So to have that athlete, that super athlete on the field, Jahad Campbell against Josh Allen, maybe that's a silver lining. Maybe that's not a bad thing this week.
So how do you see Josh Allen in today's matchup?
I wouldn't be shocked if Vic wants to find out right away how that ankle is. So that means moving him around and pressuring him in the pocket. I'm not saying you bring a ton of pressure because he's not known for that, but I want to know what kind of ankle injury we're dealing with here, because if this guy's limited, that limits his potential on what he's able to do with that skill set he is. The number one thing that we were always told when you had a guy like Lamar Leachman back in the day, who was a coordinator for us and was the coordinator there with Belichick in New York, and I had played for him, guys like this don't have spots in the pocket. Him, Steve Young, John Elway, they don't have spots. Kurt Warner has a spot. Dan Marino had a spot. You knew where those guys were going to be when they got into their pass protection and they were in that pocket. Guys like this, they make plays off script and they make plays from different angles in that pocket. Very difficult to be able to defend. To John's point, having an athletic guy back there, being able to go sideline to sideline with a guy like Allen, I think is going to be essential in a ball game like this. Keeping him pinned in the pocket, hey, this guy can make plays from any point in the backfield. He's not a precise, let's get to my 7-step, and there he is. Everyone, when you put a game film on of the Marinos, the Bradys, the Mannings, you know where those dudes are in the pocket. Guys like that, they make plays everywhere. And that's what makes him so dangerous. John, you covering Minnesota and seeing Aaron Rodgers getting out in the perimeter all them years.
Oh, my God.
That's what made that guy a force and a weapon. No one could defend that. He gets out in the perimeter. This guy's wide open creating passing lanes. He was almost undefensible when he was in his early days.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers in his prime, I talk about it all the time. He was the only guy I ever saw you'd want him to run the play. And by that, I meant if they called a slant or something, you take the 7 yards. You didn't want him escaping the pocket because you were cooked. I mean, you were cooked the minute he escaped the pocket. So, I say it all the time about Aaron. Nobody's ever played the position at a higher level, and when he was playing it at that level. And I still believe that. But for Josh Allen, yeah, I mean, he's just a unique player. He's Superman. I call him Superman all the time. When he plays like Superman, they win. And when he doesn't, they lose. There's too much on him, you know?
Yeah.
That's the problem with the Buffalo Bills. There's
right.
too much on him. They need him to be Superman. So if you're Vic Fangio, you're just trying to figure out how to make him just really good.
Clark Kent. Trying to turn him into Clark Kent, John.
That's good. But I mean, then I'll go to, like a great NBA scorer. Make him work for it. He's going to get his, but make him work for it. I think that's the goal with Josh Allen. Because you're not going to stop him.
Here's another one, too. 9 receivers with over 250 yards receptions and reception yards this year. 7 guys over 20 catches. So, I mean, he will spread it around. And I know the loss of Kincaid, which I think is big. In my opinion today, I think the key is Cook. Cook is the guy. Because if he gets going, Allen will open it up even more. If that guy goes north of 125 yards rushing, I mean, Josh Allen's going to be he's going to be able to do pretty much what he wants to do in that pocket.
What's at stake today in this game, guys? I mean, is there anything at stake? I mean, it feels like they're in the 3 seed. They could get the 2 seed if they win out and the Bears lose out. So I guess a playoff seeding is at stake. But
momentum.
What about momentum?
Confidence.
Momentum and confidence. Momentum. I want to know this. Those last 2 games I just played, tell everyone in Philadelphia's mentality, hey, we are finding ourselves. If you get blown out in this football game or you get beat by 10, 15 points in this game, Hoss, that's going to send more doubt going into that playoff for the Eagles. I think Buffalo knows who they are. John's right. They're not a great team. It's an okay roster with a spectacular player that kind of puts it all together. I think there's more on the line for Philly because if you get beat in this game and not beat 27-26, I don't care after that. But if you get beat 31-27, if you get beat 31-17, you're going to have a problem, in my opinion, heading into that final Commander game and into the postseason.
John, how do you see it?
Well, yeah, I think the only negative outcome for the Eagles is getting beaten by, 2 scores or something like that to lose some of the confidence they've gained because they're not going to play next week if they lose. So, I mean, you're not going to gain it back, and you wouldn't gain it back against the Washington Commanders anyway. So I think that's the only thing at stake. But, I don't think this Buffalo team is capable of just running away from you. So I think part of that is baked into it. I don't think you're going to see that type of situation because I think they're very limited defensively. And it's got to be, they got to make big plays. So if you're looking at, Dan mentioned Russo, he's having a good year. He's playing well recently. Christian Benford, their corner, tends to make big plays. If they make a couple big plays, couple turnovers, then it could become a little bit ugly. But if you're just playing sound football, ball security when the Eagles are playing well, it's going to be tough for the Bills to run away. They're just not good enough defensively.
What do you guys think Jalen Hurts has to do today? I mean, he's kind of found his rhythm the last couple of weeks, but similarly, you look at it like you did the team where you played 2 lesser opponents. I think he needs to keep it up today and keep his confidence high going into the postseason. Sills, what do you want to see from QB1 today, Jalen Hurts?
How about this patience? The one thing that and how the Eagles beat these NFL teams, coaches getting conservative and players making turnovers. They are the ultimate, I'm going to hang in there, whether it's 14 minutes or 55 minutes like they did against the Rams. They're going to hang in there. They're going to wait for you to make that. How many times have you seen this happen this year to the Eagles? Coach goes for it on their 45-yard line. On 4th down, they don't get it. The Eagles have half the field. They either kick a field goal, they get in scoring position, and they score. Dude, if I'm Buffalo and I'm Sean McDermott, which, again, he's a defensive-minded guy, he's not going to be patient. He's going to be aggressive because they're still chasing down the New England Patriots trying to get the AFC East seed. Well, I think that's out of hand right now, especially what's happening to the Jets. They're mauling them.
How do they get it, by the way? Do they have to win out and the Patriots have to lose one, or what?
I thought the Patriots had to lose out because they're one behind. Because the tiebreaker goes with Buffalo. So I think
the Patriots would clinch tonight if the Bills lose because they're winning. So, but if the Bills win, it still comes down to next week.
Final game.
The Patriots would have to lose next week. So, but the Patriots clinch if the Bills lose tonight. Bills are obviously in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but remember this, John. That would mean that the Patriots would have to play their guys instead of resting their guys. So if the Bills win tonight, you ask what's on the line.
Right.
If the Bills win tonight, they force New England to have to play the final game of the year, where they probably would want to get a little of their guys off the football field, getting ready for the postseason. Now, even though they'll have the bye, I believe. No, right now it's Denver. They wouldn't get the bye. They'd have to play in a wild card weekend too. So that's what's on the line for Buffalo tonight. More on the line for Buffalo because, again, seeding is going to be a little bit kind of sketchy right now, depending on what the 49ers are the team right now that people have to keep an eye on in the NFC. Because if they win out, they win the number one seed in the NFC.
Yeah. What a terrible number one seed.
but actually perfect for the Eagles. They get beat in the opening round. Perfect. They'll have the NFC Championship game again like they did a year ago at the Link.
It's amazing. Everything's coming up Eagles. All they have to do is finish it.
Do you know, John, they had a better season this year not playing.
I know. Every time they would not play. Every time they would not play, good things would happen. That changed a little bit on Christmas when Detroit lost a little bit, but not much. So yeah, I mean, but you talk about from the Bills standpoint, the Bills play the Jets next week. The Jets have obviously given up. And the Patriots play the Dolphins. Now the Dolphins
have not.
They have not, and it's kind of amazing. That would be a terrible loss for Tampa Bay because they're playing Quinn Ewers at quarterback, though. I mean, so bottom line is New England and Buffalo are both winning. New England's going to win the division. But to Dan's point, you got to play if you're New England in week 18 if the Bills win tonight, and you're always susceptible to injury. But I'm glad I'm bringing up injury because, when I Dan was talking about Josh Allen, it was a foot. He hurt last week. A couple weeks ago with Jalen Hurts, it was an ankle. These guys fucking show up and play.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks in this league don't show up and play?
Ask Lamar.
It's not just Lamar. It's Jordan Love. It's all these backups you see every week. These guys show up and play. And there's a number of those guys around the league, and there has been for years. And if you play long enough, you're going to get hurt. There's no doubt about it. But boy, the best ability is availability has never been higher than it is in the modern NFL because so many guys just sometimes they have to tap out. If you have a concussion, they make you tap out. But there's so many guys that aren't going to fight through things. These guys fight through things.
Hey, John.
Josh Allen hurts his foot. He's going to play.
Hey, John. Josh Allen in the last 7 years has missed 2 ball games.
It's a horse.
I mean, that to your point, okay? These guys don't
So is Jalen.
Yep. Jalen is healthy a lot of the time as well.
And the point is they're not healthy.
Right.
Jalen Hurts' his ankle is not 100%, but he's out there. Josh Allen's foot is not 100%, but he's out there. That's becoming rarer and rarer in the modern NFL. That's all I'm saying.
What's the scenario like right now for the Eagles, John? If they win tonight, are they going to end up having to play for something in week 18 to try and get the 2 seed, or like what's the scenario like for the Eagles?
Well, that depends on Chicago. If Chicago wins tomorrow, or is that tonight? When is that game? Tonight. Chicago wins, they're done. The Chicago clinches that 2nd seed. So that Chicago has to lose out, the Eagles have to win out. Now, Chicago loses, and the Eagles win, obviously they're going to have to, at the very least, scoreboard watch, because you know how the NFL sets up week 18. They'll play the games at the same time to make sure that nobody can rest and nobody can make those decisions. So you have to score. Remember a couple of years ago in the Giants game when AJ got hurt, the Eagles were scored. They had a chance if Dallas lost, but Dallas started blowing out whoever they were playing, and they started pulling guys, but not before AJ got hurt. And I think somebody else got hurt in that game. I forget. That's how you have to do it. I mean, you got to scoreboard watch. And the Bears are playing Detroit in week 18. Detroit's now out of it. We don't know. What are they going to do? We have no idea. Maybe they fight. Maybe they don't. So, but if there's a chance for that second seed, you have to play. You have to. You at least start the game.
Remember, Seattle plays San Francisco next week too. Okay, so that's going to determine a little bit there also in the West and what's going to happen. And, you know, the two teams that they don't have a tiebreaker over are San Francisco and Seattle. So I don't know how.
Yeah, but for the Eagles, it's about 3 versus 2. So that's all they could do. Yeah. They could stay at 3 or they can go to 2. So it's only about the Bears as far as seeding goes. It's not about because the AFC, the NFC West winner
that's right.
Is going to be the number 1 seed. And that's going to most likely be Seattle or San Francisco, not the Rams. So that's going to be the number 1 seed. Chicago, right now, it's about 87% Chicago, if you believe those playoff projection sites. 87% Chicago, 13% Philadelphia. So it's very unlikely that the Eagles are going to go up, but they can't go down. They're locked into the 3rd seed now with that abject disaster. I think they're both losing, aren't they, right now?
They're both losing. The Panthers and the Bucs.
The NFC South is like, in my opinion, the Southeastern Conference has a better Eastern division right now than the NFC South.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Baker to school. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So it'll be official once they lose. If they both won out, which they couldn't because they play each other. You know, if the Eagles lost out, there was a slight, very, very slight chance, but that's out the window. So the Eagles are the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed. That's it. And they're very likely going to be the 3rd seed and outside shot. And that could die tonight if the Bears beat the 49ers. But
Bears have 49ers this week, and then who do they have next week?
Detroit.
Yep.
Detroit.
Who's kind of dying on the vine as well. They're obviously eliminated from playoff contention. Well, it's not out. I mean, it's not impossible. That's for sure. The Bears could beat the 49ers, who are banged up and stuff. So I guess the Eagles could be. Is it worse? Well, I don't want to say it's worse, but is it almost better to get the 3 seed and have a chance to rest your starters?
I don't think it's better, but really what you're saying is I think it's better to get the 2nd seed because you want that home game to be at Lincoln Financial Field. You want to guarantee 2 home games and maybe 3 if the 1st seed gets upset, which again, it's more likely this year than it was last year. It happened last year. So you never know what can happen with that 2 seed, but almost you say to yourself, can you beat Chicago on the road? I think so, but I wouldn't say it's better than having the game here. Resting guys, go play. It's football. You only play 17 of these things.
Yeah, I know. But for all the people who want to add a game to the schedule, I mean, this year might be the best example of why that's the dumbest idea ever. I mean, it feels like the last couple weeks in the NFL. I don't know if it's just me. It feels like it's a slog.
What did you watch last night? You watched the backup bowl last night. You really want to go down that lane?
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're going to get a Super Bowl where you're going to have it called the Stiff Bowl.
I'm ready.
You're going to have 2 backup quarterbacks.
I was impressed with the 2 backups last night. Usually, you saw on Christmas Day, you saw Josh Johnson, Max Brosmer, and Chris Ololakin, whatever his name is.
Who?
I mean, that was brutal. That was brutal football. Snoop Huntley and Malik Willis played well last night.
They were good. I will say this to you in the opening rounds, Zander. I don't really think I think it's more about matchup in the opening round than it is about seeding, because some teams are going to have other teams' numbers. Like, I'll tell you this: if I'm the Rams playing the Eagles in the opening round, hey, look, that may be the more difficult team, but I'll tell you what: when I've had my butt kicked 3 times in a row by my neighbor, and he's kicking my ass 3 times in a row, and I got to go fight the guy on his lawn again, and I got to go over there and try to fight the guy, I'm going to have this. Hey, man, I better keep my chin down here. I don't know. There's something about getting your butt kicked 3 times on someone's lawn, and you got to go try to do it for a 4th time. So I think it's got a lot to do with matchup, obviously, too, because the first 4, right, outside of the opening bye, you're all getting home games. Okay, then obviously the second round, that changes with record. So, again, I think that opening round comes down to really more about matchup than seeding. But the second round, it clearly matters on seeding.
If the Eagles
I think if the Eagles get the 3rd seed and have to play the Rams, I think very well that might be their toughest game in the playoffs.
That's right. That's just
I don't think
could be
the Rams. Though.
Hey, you know what, guys? That could be the Super Bowl.
I don't know if they're going to get the Rams.
Winner of that game wins the Super Bowl.
I guess they could right now. If it ended, they would. But I just don't. It just doesn't feel like that's how it's going to fall with Darnold and all these guys. But hey, maybe it does. That'd be a great case scenario.
Hey, Seattle is not playing well, but they're going to win today.
I know.
Hey, John, let me ask you this though, John. This is going to sound psycho when I tell you this. This guy Darnold's 20. If he wins today, he'll be 27-6 in 2 years with 2 different teams.
I know. I say it all the time. He can play. He can play. He can play, but until you do it in the playoffs, it's going to always follow him around. I think people want to be right. And when he was struggling early in his career with the Jets as a top 5 pick, I think they made the declarative statement that he can play. And all of a sudden he gets with Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan teaches him some things, and Kevin O'Connell teaches him some things. And all of a sudden the guy's winning 27 games, maybe 28 if he finishes off over 2 years. But if he doesn't do it in the playoffs, you're going to hear the same people. Oh, well, he stinks. Look, you don't win 14 games in this league if you stink.
Twice on 2 different teams. No.
Yeah. That doesn't happen.
No.
Look at how tough it's been this year for the Eagles, who are a very good team. It is hard to win in this league. If you win 28 games in 2 seasons, either way, even if he doesn't, if he wins 14 and 13, and you're telling me that guy can't play, you got to look in the mirror.
Ask if the Jets would like to have that guy back.
Well, I'm not sure he'd like to be with the Jets. I mean,
that's probably more to it. More.
With the Jets, it's about, it's really tough to overcome a bad owner. Let's be honest. It is really, really, really tough in any sport. I see it here with the Sixers. I see it in football all the time. You see it to a certain degree with Jerry Jones, different style of bad owner. You saw it with Daniel Snyder for years. If you have a bad owner, it is really difficult. And that's what the New York Jets are dealing with. So it doesn't matter what the names are. They stink because their owner stinks and it rots from the head down.
It does. John, do you think if Minnesota had Darnold, they'd be in the playoffs?
Oh, unquestionably. Unquestionably.
They've win that division. They might win that division.
They've had the worst quarterback play in the NFL this season by a pretty wide margin. And they're 8-8 because their defense is so good. And nobody will hire Brian Flores because of the other issues. I mean, that guy's unbelievable.
Minnesota's going to give him an extension, reported yesterday, too.
Well, of course they're going to give him. Well, the problem is he's a free agent, so some people might want to, outbid them. But that's their problem. But somebody should hire the guy as a head coach.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll see what happens. Guys, how much is the weather a factor today? I mean, it's Buffalo late December. I'm not really going to buy that the rain isn't going to have an impact. I feel like it's a running game. How much is the weather a factor?
Let me throw it back at you then, Zander, with that question. 2 teams are set up for the elements, aren't they? Running the ball. I mean, this is why, again, New England always had the Peyton Manning Colts number, because why? Manning played indoors. They were a passing attack. And when they had to go to the weather and the wind up in Gillette, that's why Baltimore had more success up there against those Patriot teams, because why? They ran the freaking ball. You run the ball in team and weather like this, you're set up for postseason football. I always say the passing attacks are for the regular season and for all the fantasy dorks that we have in today's America. You want to play football and championship football? You run the ball in the postseason, you'll run your way all the way to Santa Clara.
Maybe they'll get it going. John, how do you see that part of it?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a big factor unless the wind kicks up late in the game, like I said. There's going to be some rain. But again, Buffalo this time of year, that's your best case scenario. And, Nick Sirianni just talked about it this week. The rain helps the offense, not the defense, because you're the one as the receivers, as the pay, what you're doing. Defenders are reacting. They're reacting. So that's an advantage offense. The wind is advantage defense. And right now, it's not that windy. Now, something's coming through to our point, how quickly the weather changes in Buffalo, and it's going to be 25 to 35 mile an hour gusts tonight in Buffalo. When does that come through? I don't know. Does it come through in the fourth quarter? May change the whole game in the fourth quarter.
Good. Guys, let's get some predictions on record here on Sunday. I know you guys gave them out on the shows this week. Both of you two gentlemen had the Buffalo Bills winning the football game. I don't know if you've changed. You always reserve the right to change it to the last minute. Here we go. Johnny Mac, starting with you. You gave me 27-24 Bills during Friday's edition of Birds 365. What is your prediction now, and how do you see the game and some keys to the game here, J-Mac?
Yeah, I think the Bills will win the game. Both teams will score some points. Both teams will run the football well. Both teams will have big plays. And Josh Allen will make the biggest play down the stretch. It's what he usually does. But we're at home. If we're at Lincoln Financial Field, I probably have the Eagles 27-24. But, and I think that's fine for the Eagles. They'll settle in with that third seed. They can rest their guys next week. And even the fans can get excited about watching Tanner McKee beat up on the Washington Commanders. I don't think it's the end of the world for anybody, as long as they don't get beaten badly. And I don't see this Buffalo team. I don't see that kind of avenue unless the Eagles pull the Chargers and turn it over 4 or 5 times. And I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Sills, what do you got, man? J-Mac has 27-24 Bills. During the week, you had 28-20 Bills.
I've changed that number.
Okay, here you go. What do you got, my friend?
Okay. I got 28-21. Buffalo Bills. I've added an extra point to the game, and I've got the Buffalo Bills taking care of business and making that last game of the year matter for the Patriots. I think they win the football game 28-21. I think Josh Allen has a big night. I think Cooks has a big day too in this ball game. So, yeah, I want to, again, prove to me. I'll tell you what, I'll have a glazed donut for the Philadelphia Eagle defense on the postgame show. If they shut those two guys down and they prove to me again that they could stop these two guys, they'll be ready for the postseason. This will be a great test. This is the dress rehearsal. I got 28-21 Buffalo in the game.
I'm going to take the Birds in this game. I'll stand on the island here on Jacob. I'll take the Birds in this game. I got them 30-27. I think the biggest factor in the game today is going to be the quarterbacks running the football. You have 2 dual-threat quarterbacks with 2 great running backs to go with them. You have rain. You have potential for wind.
It's downpouring right now, by the way. It's downpouring.
And whatever quarterback, to me, is able to create offense with their legs, I think that will open things up for the back, open things up in the running game as a whole, and maybe even give them a shot downfield. So I got the Eagles winning 30-27, and I got Jalen Hurts out rushing Josh Allen today in the football game. We will see if it comes to fruition. But
his foot better be hurting because I don't like that one.
I know you don't, J-Mac. I know you don't. But I got it, right? You and
Hey,
Sileo.
wait a minute. You're all bamming up
part of
again?
it.
Hey, Zander, you all bamming up again?
Bam it up. What does that have to do with being
I
bam
don't
it
know.
up?
I just liked it when he said it. It just sounded good.
All right, I'm going to give you guys some over-unders. You guys tell me. We'll see where you guys lie. We got about 5 minutes left in the show today. I want to thank and welcome everybody for being here. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. All right, we got New Year coming up this week, and we are in Week 17 of the NFL, which means it's go time. It's time for the Eagles to get going here in the postseason. We are a fan base that is, in a way, as John likes to say, we've become spoiled. 5 straight postseason appearances. Entitled. This is where the Eagles got to start to play their best football. And I think the best chance to get the most amount of confidence is today versus Buffalo. You beat this team today and you rest your starters in Week 18, you roll into that wild card game feeling very good.
Well, I don't think you're resting your starters if you win today.
Well, that could be a problem.
I don't think the Bears are winning out in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. If they do, then they will have the opportunity to do that. If not, then maybe they won't. I agree. But hope everybody had a great holiday. However you spend it, whether it was with your family or alone, we do appreciate you being here today. Let's get ready for some playoff football now, folks, on the other side of Christmas. All right, guys, some over-unders. First, I'll start with the game. All right. The game, I think, is – let me find this thing. The game is, wow, the Bills are -3. That line shifted a lot. Wasn't that thing?
It sure did. It was 1.5 on Friday.
Well, it's -3 now for Buffalo.
Wow.
And the over-under on the game is 44.5. That's so low. They got low points in the game, much lower than I had on my score prediction. But you guys like the Eagles? Well, I guess you guys already gave that because you guys gave Sills. You got the Bills covering. John, you got it. You got the Birds pushing on that. All right, that's fine. Let's go to passing. Jalen Hurts over under 185.5 yards through the air. John?
I'll go under.
You'll go under? I was thinking under on that too. Sills, what do you think? 185.
I have a good Tyrod Taylor-ish number of 145 passing yards in this ball game, so I'll take the 145 in this one. I'm under.
I'm going to go over. We need a signature Jalen Hurts game here. All right, Josh Allen, over under 194.5 passing. I'm going under. He doesn't have.
I'm going under too. I don't think this is a passing game for either team.
Me neither. I think
I'm going under too. I don't believe.
Guys, answer me this, and maybe this is a bad look.
Is Khalil Shakir going to go off?
Who catches the ball for them? Keon Coleman's a scratch. Dalton Kincaid is out. Khalil Shakir is the receiver. They have Dawson Knox. What are we looking at? Joshua?
They're not explosive in the passing game.
I mean, Tyrell Favors, they don't have receivers on this football.
But hang on here. Keon Campbell?
Coleman.
Excuse me. Sorry.
They
don't really have anybody anyway.
I know. They spent what? What they spent on him last year, John? A second-round pick?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. He's been a healthy scratch a bunch recently.
Yeah.
A bunch. Yeah. He's in the doghouse there.
They just don't have a lot of pass catchers, though. I mean, and with Kincaid out, you got Knox, Jackson Hawes, who hasn't caught a lot of balls.
If they can get Stephon Diggs back, I might change my mind, but that's not happening.
Bro, they won't have a guy over 800 receiving yards this year.
I know. Dude, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Carson
Wentz.
What year was
Carson would have loved to have an 800-yard receiver. He didn't have a 500-yard receiver.
Hey, John, I couldn't believe that 4,000 passing yard season. He didn't have one guy over 500 yards receiving. That was a receiver. The tight end was the
tight end.
Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Was that was the Travis Fulgham year?
Yeah, Travis had like 4 something.
Yeah, Travis Fulgham.
Dude,
did it in 5
had like
weeks.
A 4-game run in the NFL, and you never heard of him again. It's amazing somehow some stories in the NFL go. All right, there's your passing yard number. Let's go to the rushing. I want to go to rushing, and I want to go to quarterbacks first. All right, let's go player rushing. Their numbers are very similar. All right, so Jalen Hurts is over under 31.5. And Josh Allen's is over under 33.5. Start with Jalen Hurts. John, does Jalen Hurts rush for more than 31.5 yards today?
Yeah, I'm going over. As I said, the Bills are the 3rd worst team in the NFL when it comes to quarterback rushing. So I'm going over. I'm going over for Josh too.
Yeah.
The only thing that would hamper that for Josh, if the foot is bad and he's trying to take some of the strain off it and it has a different mentality, that could factor in. But if he's healthy and he says there's no limitations, that's been the news out of Buffalo, he'll be over as well.
Sills, what do you think? 31.5 for Jalen, 33.5 for Josh.
You know what I'm doing right now, John? Let's see. That cortisone shot. Go right there. I'll be ready to rock it. I'll be ready to rock it.
Or a doll. Yeah.
Hey, man, both those numbers are pathetic, man. Both these guys are going to be up high, I think, in yards. And
man, they don't have mansion. They don't build towers.
No, that's right. That's right. That's correct. That's correct. You're right.
Yeah.
They don't build those the castles on the strip in Vegas for nothing.
Yeah, the sky rises. Exactly.
Yeah, I got you there, but I'm telling you, man, I think with the weather being the way it is and the rain like that, and it is downpouring right now, by all accounts there, I think you're going to see a lot of running. And boy, I'll tell you what, John, you know this when you hear coordinators talking, these are the worst games for a D lineman and a defensive front seven because they break your back on 3rd and long when these guys get out. You got everybody covered and they break out. That's where you're going to see a lot of these yards, in my opinion.
Well, here's where Vegas is smart. See, Allen leads the NFL in quarterbacks and rushing yards, 552. That's only 36.8 yards a game. So I think people don't realize it. They say they look at that number. That's I mean,
that's about right.
Yeah. Hurts is 416, so he's much underneath that. So they know what they're doing. It's not like 416. Right. Jalen Hurts at 27.8 yards a game. So that's where they get those numbers.
I got Jalen rushing for like 57 today. I think that's a good number for Jalen.
That's a big number. That's a big number. I'm going under that number, but I'm going over.
How many tutties, Zander?
Whatever it was.
Yeah, tutty. 1 tutty on the ground.
How about Allen?
Allen, I'm going to go 51 and a
51.
tutty. Yeah.
Any tutties?
And I got a tutty for Allen.
All right.
Josh Allen's got 12 rushing TDs. Jalen Hurts has 8.
So Josh Allen's getting the ball a lot on the ground this year. That's because the tush push has been less effective this year. A lot of Jalen's touchdowns last year were on the tush push. All right, good stuff there. Running backs, guys, numbers said exactly the same. 86.5 for James Cook and Saquon Barkley. Over under.
Damn well James Cook better go over 86 or Buffalo's got no shot.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going over. Saquon 86. That's it. He's been player. I'll go over. That's more iffy, but I'll go over because I think the Eagles want to continue to get that running game going. But James Cook has to go over 86. Has to.
I'm going over for both guys too, and Cook's gone for 5+ yards a carry too this year. He's had a great year, man. He's probably going to be, when it comes to the all-pro running back in the league this year, his name's going to be considered for either first, second, or third team on the all-pro team this year. He's had a spectacular year, John. He may end up the year this year, depending on what he does today and next week if he has to play. This guy could end up with 1,700 yards rushing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hell of a season.
So to your point, the point he averages 102 yards a game. Saquon's at 71.5.
And this guy's the only guy in the league with 100 yards a game.
So, 86 is a bad day for James Cook. 86 is a good day for Saquon this season.
It's going to be interesting to see how Vic Fangio plays that one. All right, guys, we're within 25 minutes away from kickoff. Your final thought, John McMullen.
I do think, Jake Elliott, we haven't talked about. Now, they're kicking Michael Badgley, so it's not like they have a constant as Matt Prater would be as a veteran. But Jake Elliott, the struggles he's had in recent weeks, not the place where you want to get out of struggling. So fourth quarter, if it's a close game, and I think we all have it as a relatively close game, do you trust Jake Elliott, or do you have to go for it on fourth down? Maybe the Eagles are a little bit more aggressive. They're aggressive by nature anyway, but that'll be interesting to watch. Jake Elliott. Keep an eye on Jake Elliott because I don't think anybody trusts him right now.
And that kicker who's replacing Prater today for Buffalo had a shaky entrance to last week. He did not do very well.
Missed an extra point.
Missed an extra point. I think he also didn't kick a kickoff in the landing zone, so he set them up with great field position. Sills, your final thought here. The game is within 22 minutes now from kickoff.
Well, if I was Jake Elliott and I missed a field goal late in this ball game, had to go back to Philly, I just wanted him to know that it's around an 18-hour bus ride getting back to Philly if this guy misses some field goals up there with that nice Lake Erie wind that's going to be blowing off that. And like John said, third quarter, fourth quarter, my God, please give it to me early so later on the wind doesn't be a factor on my special teams here. So, yeah, man, hey, listen, I think this is going to be a turnover football game. You win the running attack, you win the turnover battle, you win the ball game. I know it sounds like old school football, but in a game like this where two teams are known for running the football, I think it's going to come down to just that.
No doubt. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate both of you. John, we'll talk to you on the halftime show. Big Sills and J-Mac, we'll talk to both of you guys on the post-game show. It's a good one today. Set to kick off in Week 17. I'll talk to you guys then. Thank you.
You got it. Right, see you guys in the post-game.
All right, thank you, guys. There's Johnny Mac and Big Sills, Dan Sileo joining me here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button here on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. My one thought before I go, and I'll give you guys some, some quick business on there, some promo for the content we have coming today. My one thought on the game today is I think it's a quarterback run game. I said this in my score prediction, but to me, whatever quarterback is able to run the football more effectively today, it's not so much yards. I know we always put the yards on it because of Vegas and the over-unders and all those things. To me, it's about effectiveness. If Jalen Hurts is able to run the football effectively today on a key third down here, or, when you need a pickup here, when the blitz is coming and there's nobody's open, can you pick up 6 instead of losing 6? The effectiveness of the quarterback running game today, to me, is the biggest factor on who's going to win the football game. When you got rain and you got wind and you got late December weather in Buffalo, it's probably going to be a running game. So what quarterback enables their running back to explode more in the running game? I think that happens by the way the quarterbacks run the football. You obviously have two of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the game in today's matchup, and Josh Allen is arguably the best player in football. I mean, he's just that good. So to me, if Jalen can run the football well, if Jalen can pick up some meaningful yards on the ground, that will open things up for Saquon Barkley. Will keep the Bills defense on their heels, and they're just not that good of a defense, guys. They're not that good of a defense. I mean, why did I pick Jalen to run more than Josh Allen? It's because the defense is. I don't think the Bills' defense is very good. The Eagles' defense, to me, is much better than their numbers indicate. So that's my general thought on the game. Appreciate all you guys being here. Don't forget today to tune into the JAKIB Green Zone. If you don't like the TV commentators, or you're on the road, or you can't watch the football game, or for whatever the reason might be, tune into the JAKIB Green Zone. Joe Krause will take you through the whole game, play-by-play, from start to finish, right here on the JAKIB Sports channel. Tune in for the halftime show. At halftime, me and Johnny Mac will go live, give you our takeaways from the first half and what we expect to see in half number 2. And then the postgame show, our instant reaction and breakdown of the Eagles' Week 17 game today versus the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. All right, to be specific. So it's a great game. It's a great atmosphere, by the way. This is one of those stadiums that is just, it's like a bucket list type of thing to play at Highmark Stadium. And this is the last season with the stadium. So, if you're an Eagle fan and you've never gone and today's your first time there, congrats. You got to a bucket list stadium right before they got rid of it. All right. Because they are moving into their new stadium, I believe, for next year. So appreciate all you guys. Enjoy the game. Eagles are 10-5 coming in. Bills are 11-4. Appreciate all you guys watching today on the pregame show. Don't forget to hit that like button. I'll see you next time, everybody.
EAGLES, Eagles.